Hi guys, Samantha from Jessama Tutorials here, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make these beads. Now, I have already done a tutorial on my faux agate, and that one was done so that I could show you how to make the daggers of this type. But then I also showed a picture on Facebook where I had flattened it out, and I did promise that I would do a tutorial on it. It took me a little while, but here's the tutorial. Now, the only difference is, in the previous tutorial I showed you the daggers using these colors. So what I'm going to do in this one's tutorial is I'm going to do it using the other purple mix that I had. So if you want to learn how to make this, just go to the Faux Agate tutorial. I'll include a link in the links below, and I'll show you how to make this, and this was never actually used in the tutorial. So I'll be using this today, and I'll be using basically the same technique that you would need to make these beads. So just go and take the colors from my previous tutorial on the faux agate and just do the same technique that I'm using today using this color. So to start, you're going to need this, which is basically translucent and alcohol ink mixed together, and you want to condition it. So we want that conditioned. We also want a fair bit of translucent, and now I'm using Primo today, so that's Primo over here. That's Primo translucent mixed with purple alcohol ink. You're going to need plain translucent, and you are also going to need white. And this is how I make my blue lace agate, basically. So I'll condition these. Okay, so they've been conditioned, and I have rolled them out into a log. Now what you want to do is you just want to take little balls, like I showed in the previous tutorial, of each colour. You're just going to stick that down onto your tile. And now the top, I like to keep it white and the translucent colour, and then towards the bottom we will move towards leaving out the white and just having the translucent in this one. So in the beginning it will be white and our translucent colour on top of each other, like that, and then I'll start including the translucent. So you just do this, and this will work. This is the same technique that I showed in the previous tutorial. So I'll just show you what I'm doing so you can get the idea, and then I'll just carry on doing it so it speeds it up. And now I'll start including a little bit of that translucent, but not too much. And as I go up through the stack, I will start including more translucent and eventually weed out the white. And there's no particular pattern, just stacking these pieces on top of each other 4 by 4. Okay, so here it is. Now that I'm done, you can see it, there's a few layers, and as we go the white has gotten taken out, so there's one little bit of a white block there, but for the most part down this section there's not much white, and there's a lot of white down this end. So I just find that that gives it a more realistic look. And what I've done is I've just taken it and I've squared it up and then squished it down, just to make it easier to work with. Okay, now I'm going to gently form it into a round, into a log. Now what you'll do is you'll just start rolling and twisting, and always twist in the same direction. That's very important. And the more you twist, the more lines you'll get and the more interesting it will look. It's important not to overdo it, because otherwise you'll get a bit of a blend, but you do want to twist enough. Okay, and I'm just going to squish it back up a little bit because it's getting a bit long. I'll just carry on twisting. And don't forget to get the ends. The ends generally don't get twisted as much. And I've got a lot of translucent over here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break that off because I don't need that much translucent on the end. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start smooshing it up on itself. What this is going to do is it's going to warp those layers and make all the lines and make it look more agate-y. Okay, just like that, and then just continue pushing it up so you form this block. Okay, and then I'm going to gently round that off again. Just like that. And there you can see it's looking quite agate-y. I'm just going to gently condense it some more so that it's condensed into a nice round, because I'm going to show you a little trick for this particular stone because we're trying to make blue lace agate. So I didn't do this with the last one because it wasn't necessary for that stone, but I'm going to show you a quick trick. So now that that's condensed down, I'm going to go and get a pin. Okay, so here's the pin. And anything will work, and this technically isn't a pin, I just can't remember what it was called, but a needle will work. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it and you're gently going to create streaks across the surface of your log, and what this is going to do is it's just going to push those layers and turn each of the layers almost frilly. So this is going to give each of those layers that classic frilly look in agate, and so it will give it more interesting look. Now you do want them all going in one direction. Doesn't matter if you're lining those off that way or that way, but you don't want to be going and making lines this way as well. You want them to be going one way. So we'll just do that across your piece as many times as you want. You can go around for another one. Just do that and it will create a more realistic look. And you could try doing this with my previous tutorial as well. That could look quite interesting. But I find that the blue lace agate specifically needs it. Although this typically isn't blue lace agate, I guess, because it's kind of more purple than blue. Okay, so I'm just going around for another one just to make sure that I get those frills really nice and maybe work in some specific areas. Like up here the white looks a little bit fake, so you might want to work on that. Work down here. So I'll continue working at it to make sure that I've got all of those frills nice. There we are, all done. So I'll bring that up to show you now. So it looks quite interesting. It will make it look a little bit more realistic. Now we're going to just take it and gently roll out those streaks. So you don't want it to be rolling long. So just roll it and then squish it back into place. And then roll again to get rid of the streaks. And just continue doing this until you've gotten rid of the streaks. Well, not the streaks, the lines. So you want this to be nice and smooth. But you're not going to get rid of the streaks because you don't want to get rid of them. Okay, so I'll just check around to make sure that that's nice and smooth. Okay, so you can see now that those streaks are really nice and interesting. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to flatten this out. So in the previous tutorial, what I would have done is I would have rolled this into a dagger. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten it out. And I'm going to use my acrylic roller as soon as I've patted it out, because I like doing it with my fingers because I just feel like I have more control, and that's just something that I do. I'll just roll this out flat, both directions. Okay, and I want to leave it quite thick, so I'm not going to run it through my pasta machine. Now I'm going to bring over a cutter, and I'm going to also bring over a plastic bag so we can dome it. So here's the bag. Oh, and before I do that, actually I want to pick up the other side, because the other side's generally the side that looks the best. So I want to look at both sides and see which one looks best. So this one's a little bit smudged. So So I might actually just go and clean this up a little bit by just shaving off that bit. Just to get rid of those smears, because there are a bit of smears there. And you don't want smears. And just so long as you're careful as you shave, you won't damage anything. Okay. So still like the other side best, but we're going to be using both sides. Actually, oh, it's hard. I think I'm going to use this side. That's a dilemma that I have often. Which side should I use? So I'll just take the plastic bag, pop it over the top, then I bring over the cutter that I have. Okay, and my head needs to get in the way. Okay, so I lined it up the way I needed it to be lined up, so my head doesn't have to be in the way for you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my hand over it, and then I'm going to start pushing. Okay, now lift that up, and then just cut to make sure that's properly done. Then I'll just gently lift up the edges around it. Okay, and then start smoothing while it's stuck to the tile, because it just makes it easier. So do the cleanup while it's stuck. Then I'll bring around my blade, just make sure those edges are nice and perfect. Okay, so just spend a good amount of time finishing it off, because the smoother it is, the less sanding you have to do. And everybody hates sanding, so if you can avoid a bunch of it, that's best. Okay, so then I'll just take my finger and gently burnish across the top to get rid of fingerprints. Okay, and then I will go and pop that in the oven for about 40 minutes at the recommended temperature for primo, and then I'll come and show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's the bead now that I have finished baking, sanding and buffing it. And you can see that it really does look like real stone. I've taken a long time to give it a really nice buff, so you can see how beautiful and glossy that is, which is very important for the faux stones, because if you don't get this look, it's not going to look like stone. And I buffed the back as well, so you can see that that's quite shiny as well. But the front where it was domed is where I focused a lot of the attention. So I'll just bring this up so hopefully you can see how intricate that is. You can see all those lines, and because the translucent has gone translucent, you can actually see inside the stone. You can see the little mooning areas where the translucent has got those little moons. You can see a translucent overlapping the white, so it has that really cool stone effect. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. And you can do this with the other ones that I showed earlier, the ones that I showed in my Faux Agate tutorial before. If you just repeat the same process that I've shown you now, you can come out with the same thing as this, except that I just did it with purple today instead of the green and the blue that I showed in that tutorial. So, I do hope that this tutorial was helpful to you, and if it was, please do let me know, as that's always helpful to me and it encourages me to carry on with what I'm doing. And please do check out my website, jessamatutorials.com. I have articles on there and places where you can send in pictures of what you've done using my tutorials, and all sorts of other things that I'm sure you guys will love. And if you want full-blown project tutorials, I post them on my Patreon membership every single month, and I also post them on my Etsy store, Jessama Design. So please do check that out if you would like more project tutorials. And as always, I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.